Welcome to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast.
Every week, they talk about the Vancouver Canucks with a fair amount of nonsense thrown in.
Sure, they're never the first with the news, nor the best connected, and definitely more off the rails than on.
But they've been talking puck the longest, and that counts for something, right?
So strap in for the longest running, best mediocre Canucks Hockey Podcast.
It's C4 with Chris and Anna.
Hi, it's Chris. There's Anna. Hey, Anna.
Hi, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm all right. Not as hot as previous.
No.
Although we've been dealing with the smoke instead, so that's
Which,
also not good.
in all honesty, took a while to arrive, which is the first time in a long time that I can't remember the last time we didn't have a summer where there wasn't a whole lot of smoke throughout. It just sort of showed up this past week, and then yesterday is when it sort of started to clear out, and that's because we had like some weather pattern change. I don't know. Did you get in the torrential rain at all that happened?
Yeah, luckily I was home by that point, and I left maybe half an hour after it finished. But it was weird to, see puddles on the ground again.
Yeah, that was definitely surreal. And then I don't know. Did you hear the thunder?
No.
No. Okay, so with the way, I don't know, I'm not a meteorologist, but
You're not?
I'm not, no. But like
But there's a 30%
the conditions,
chance it's already raining.
yeah, the conditions were conducive to there being a thunderstorm due to the sort of warm temperature and then a sudden cold front. Right. I didn't see any lightning, but the thunder was just rolling for like, I'm going to say 10 seconds. And that could be a slight exaggeration. It could even be an under exaggeration. Like it just was rolling and it wouldn't stop. And I can't recall hearing thunder like that before. Like I've heard different types of thunder, and we don't get like those. I don't know, for anyone who's like in the interior or in the prairies where you can see like the actual lightning. Here, we don't see necessarily the lightning.
No, it's like a flash.
We see a flash.
Yeah.
And then we hear the rumble. And sometimes you don't even see the flash, but you hear the rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I didn't see the flash, but I definitely heard the rumble. And it just didn't stop rumbling. It was really weird. Anywho.
It's interesting if you don't live in BC and you aren't used to the sort of wildfire constant. Like I spoke to my dad this morning and I told him it had been really smoky. And he said, "Oh, is there a fire?" And I said, "Look up a map of a wildfire map of BC. There's more than one."
Yeah, and it's actually, I mean, there's definitely more than one. But again, to the sort of for us here in the coastal area, not as impactful. But there are some other areas within BC where it's been significant.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, it's been a couple of weeks since we were last here. Not a whole lot's been going on in Canuckland.
Nope.
Training camps fast approaching. If you want to buy your tickets to watch them in Penticton, they go on sale on Tuesday.
Yeah, mark my calendar.
So was it like $13 or something a session, and then like if you want to watch like the blue and white game, it's like $40.
Is it actually $40?
This is up in Penticton. Yeah.
Jeez.
Here, let me go to the Canucks website. It's let's see. It goes on sale on Tuesday. All activities will be in Penticton at the South Okanagan Event Center from September 18 to 21. Tickets for Thursday and Friday are $13. Sunday is $6.50. I'm going to have to assume it's because it's like a short practice.
Yeah.
The Saturday scrimmage is $40. If you want to buy for everything, it's $62, and if you just want to go on the weekend, it's $45.
Like, really, like the people in Penticton never get to see the Canucks. And then you're charging them $40. I'm pretty sure I went to an open practice for free at UBC, and I think there was an alumni game, so I think we ended up like donating. But
so years ago, Canucks Hockey Blog, we went to Penticton for a training camp, and we really all we had to pay for was our stay in Penticton, like our hotel stay and obviously food and all that jazz. But we went to watch the Vancouver Canucks, training camp practices, the scrimmages, the blue and white game. We recorded video. There's probably still video on the CHB YouTube channel of me, JJ Guerrero, Richard Lote, who was also up there. And then we've actually, I believe we were able to get some audio from the dressing room through back channels. Because back then, like bloggers were completely forbidden from anything. And it was funny because the mainstream media had started to sort of embrace the fact that not all bloggers, were that stereotype. Like, we were just talking, we're fans, but we were a little more organized than the regular fan. And I remember, I think it was the Friday night, JJ, Richard, me, and Marnie, who was up there with us, we went to this local sports bar to watch, I don't know, BC Lions or something like that. And all the sports reporters who were covering the team are there. And they know us. But they're giving us the gears because, we're doing it on our own dime. These guys are, paid to be there. But when we start saying how we're getting audio through sort of back channels, they were not only amazed, but impressed that we were able to do that. And then JJ went and crashed like the invite only, like VIP team, like wine and mixer on I think it was this like the last night, the Sunday night, and was talking to like Elaine Vignon and that.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
wow.
Surreal.
Back in the day.
I don't make the trip to follow the Vancouver Canucks for training camp anymore. I was in Penticton recently, but not for hockey. Anywho, we're going to get into what we expect from the Vancouver Canucks at camp. Teams getting back into town, hitting the ice. I've been seeing a lot of Caitlin Pedersen on TikTok. I suspect she's come up in my For You page on TikTok because she's been cooking and baking. And that's like the thing that I watch a lot of. And I'll bet you the algorithm is I'm sure he'll be all in on this. And you can clearly tell that Petey is sort of present. You'll see his elbow. You might hear a gruff voice.
Does he have a gruff voice?
Well, there
must have been someone else.
Like, no,
I'm just
like
kidding.
the one or two words, like, or the grunt and the noise.
Grunt.
Like, it's obvious that
We
I don't know
grunt.
if it's necessarily an actor. He's not necessarily wanting to be in front of the camera, but it's funny because her following isn't significant in the context of sort of, sports wags. I don't think the comments on her videos are like, single, maybe low double digits, or they were when I was last looking. And it's quite clear that a good number of people are simply Canucks fans who are like, oh my God, there might be some, PDT. Anyhow. And then we'll talk a little bit about else what might have happened in the league. But to get to that point, let's go into rewind. So the Vancouver Canucks, being that they're in town and back on the ice, have not gone to their practice facility. Why, Anna? Or have they not gone to their practice facility?
I think, Chris, the answer is that it doesn't exist.
No, that's true. Actually, even if it did, could players go to a team-owned practice facility prior to camp?
Yeah, even if if a tree falls in the forest. No, but good question. I believe they probably wouldn't be able to. There has been drama around that before. Participating in, you can't be doing a team sanctioned activity, and I believe there'd be issues around insurance. But yes, even if they wanted to, even if it existed.
But no, the Canucks have been out to EBC, which is generally where they make their way. It's either that or 8 rigs sort of before camp starts. And I think the bulk of the team is in town. I can't say I've been keeping track, but based on the few videos I've seen, the pictures and what have you, it does feel like the bulk of the roster is in Vancouver. And I don't know, like, players stay in shape throughout the season and off season. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the old days when I first became a fan, where training camp was where players showed up to get in shape for the season. Maybe cut back on the cigarettes and the booze.
Yeah, and that's true in a lot of sports, but obviously that doesn't fly anymore. And it does seem to be like, they're like working out within 2-3 weeks of the season finishing and then skating within a month. Like, they don't really miss much of a beat, really.
No, arguably the only ones who do are the ones who physically can't due to injury.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and even then, if they can do any form of physical training, upper body strength, cardio, things of that sort, or whatever it might be to work around the injury, they're doing that. So it's always amazing to me when they show up in town to get ready for the season, that I'm kind of wondering if they kind of already are.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure P.O. Joseph was on the ice, no? And he is on LTIR, supposedly.
Well, I mean, LTIR is just a fancy acronym that you use to remain cap compliant. Like, the fact that, again, and I brought this up on so many episodes, Chris Pronger was in the NHL Hockey Hall of Fame working for the NHL, playing in alumni games while still on the LTIR for the Coyotes. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a series of letters that makes you cap compliant. We'll talk more about that actually in Half Full, Half Empty. But you wrote down in the rundown, big camp questions. Center lineup. Can PD reclaim first center title? Is Hedl ready for the second spot? Who is 3? Is this really a question? Like, PD is the number 1 center, is he not?
I know, he has to be. He has to be, because we don't have anyone else. But it's more, does he reclaim that title, all that it means?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, but is, like, when you say reclaim the title, is there any reclamation required? Like, he is it. Whether he should be, like, if his play has really dropped off and it's cratered, he's still the number 1 center. It just means that the Vancouver Canucks are in a much bigger world of hurt than we thought they would be. But I am optimistic that PD is going to turn things around, that he's had a great off season, that he's going to come into camp like just with a chip on his shoulder and a point to prove. We're going to get, that, mean PD that we'd see glimpses of when suddenly, had a little snarl to his game. That PD could be something else.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we all hope for. But yeah, you're right. Like, there's no alternative, especially as our number 2 center. Like, when Miller was in town, let's put all dressing room and sort of player-to-player relationship aside, there's competition for that first center spot. Now it's like, can Hedl step up to be number 2? Can he stay healthy to be number 2?
Healthy. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Presuming Hedl's healthy, I think he is your number 2. And then, remaining healthy, that's the other thing. Oh, I don't know who 3 is.
That's the thing. Like,
who would be 3?
I mean, if Bluk is your number 3, you're not a better team than you were last year. And that's not a shot at Bluger, really. It's just like, that's a number 4 center on a good team.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not maybe as down on Bluger as you are.
I mean, again, I think he's a very serviceable center, but number 3, like, I think they're putting a lot of pressure on Arttu Ratu to, 1, again, stay healthy, and 2, make that jump to be a regular NHLer and contributing, attacking NHLer.
Okay, well, I mean, Ratu did look good in spurts in Abbotsford, especially during the postseason. Did need to get himself restarted, I believe, 1 or 2 times.
He has so much potential. He has so much potential. It's just if he puts it all together this year or not.
But I don't know if I would play Ratu. Like, to me, is Ratu the fourth line center on this Canucks roster? I don't feel like that's a good spot for him to continue his development.
Exactly.
So maybe
that's not where you put a dynamic player like him.
And I guess, who else does it leave? You got Linus Karlsson.
He's a good extra center. Is he a good? He shouldn't be something that you're banking on, really. I think he should be.
Well, no, but that's the thing is, if it's Linus Karlsson, then Blueger's your 3, right? Like, to me, Linus Karlsson as a center is your fourth line center. But therein lay the issue. Like, as you sort of look through the Vancouver Canucks depth, Blueger goes up to 3 if Ratu can't fill that role, and then you have one of Karlsson, maybe Sasson in the fourth.
Although, right? I think Sasson, they're still unsure. I'm not I do think he has a place to be, but whether he can be solid enough to be a center on the NHL team, which I know is his natural position, but it does seem like Canucks trust him more as a winger.
Oh. Well, I mean, if there's one thing that we are certain with the Vancouver Canucks, center is always a problem. You never have enough defensemen, and you require your goaltender to stand on his head for the team to have any chance. But that said, there is some depth. We saw, obviously, the Abbotsford Canucks have a very successful season last year. And one might suggest a few players played themselves into serious contention pending a good camp. And, the question you ask in the rundown is, which Calder champs can make the jump? I feel, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Jonathan Lekkerimäki should be in a Vancouver Canucks uniform for the first game of the season. Now, maybe on the ice, so let me qualify that. I could see him maybe being upstairs, but I feel he makes the roster out of camp.
I mean, I think they are depending on him to do that, but I still think there's more to show there. But I do think he is the pick of all the Abbotsford Canucks, honestly. I think Baines has really slowed down his development compared to where he was this time last year, where you were thinking we were having the same conversations, thinking he would make the team.
Yeah, I look at Baines and I feel like he's going to be that serviceable guy that gets called up anytime the Vancouver Canucks need to add some depth due to injury. Like, I think
there's
Arsh is sort of the first guy. You need a fourth liner. Arsh gets the call.
And there's a lot to be said for players that don't need waivers. Go back down, which may play into the defense thinking when it comes to who ends up on the team to start the year.
Okay, so on the defense, what are you telling me? That Kudratsov or Willander might find their way up?
I'm saying that they're always going to be an option to call up, so I don't think they're that Canucks are that much in a rush, especially with Willander. Like, who knows? Obviously, hot ticket. Really hope it works out, given all the fuss. But we haven't seen even the jump to pro hockey yet, so that remains to be seen.
Considering your comment about the hot ticket, like all through the offseason, nearly every deal that was rumored to involve the Vancouver Canucks involved Willander.
Yeah.
And
the fact that none of them got done.
Yeah, but I'd have to imagine that teams are asking for him because they see potential, which does make me feel a little bit better that the Vancouver Canucks have found a player who has a future. But as Canucks fans, we know that we don't get nice things all that often.
Yeah, especially nice young things. Not so great at holding on to the good prospects. But yes, I do think Kudratsov is very well talked about. He gets mentioned all the time by Olveen. He is the new Brisebois, even though Brisebois is the old Brisebois.
I was going to say Breeze is back, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Brisebois never went away. Longest serving member of the Canucks organization. Guillaume Brisebois. We love you. But yeah, he is the new Brisebois in terms of mentions per radio hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of interesting characters on the fringes. It's just more like you're looking at the bottom of the Canucks lineup and you're thinking, eh. Whereas you look at the top of the Abbotsford Canucks lineup and it's very exciting, but it's really the gap in the middle between the NHL and the AHL that's the issue.
You're right.
I think.
And that jump is let's say the top line at Abbotsford, a third line group in the NHL. That I don't feel is the case. And
yeah, and I agree. And also, is it like a third line in the NHL on a contending team?
Yeah.
Like,
well, wait, the Vancouver Canucks are a contending team? Are we an optimistic podcast this season? We haven't actually declared whether or not we are optimistic or pessimistic.
Yeah, it's true. But I feel like every time we're optimistic, it's more like out of desperation than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, fair play. I think the, problem that you have with the Vancouver Canucks is that you don't want to stymie development by having a player get really limited minutes in the NHL when they might be able to flourish in the AA under the continued leadership of Manny Malhotra.
I know. Thank God he hasn't gone anywhere yet.
I feel like if a player like lights out, makes the roster out of camp, fine, play him in Vancouver. But if you're like, are they? Man, just keep them in Abbey. Let them go and prove you wrong. Cook. Yeah, and find a way to bring them up. Heck, make a deal if you need to free up the space. But, the Vancouver Canucks do have a good solid roster of Jags making Jag money right now on NHL contracts. They can dress a third and fourth line of Jags. We just have to accept that they're kind of like fourth line A and fourth line B.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, let's not forget we have another Stillman on the books.
Yeah, that's true. Can never have too many Stillmans. Good old Chase. The other, area of concern is on the defense. So we know that Quinn Hughes has a good 2 years left in him. I don't want to say that in the context of I don't believe he'll be here longer, but I have concerns until he signs that renewal. Quick sidebar on Quinn Hughes. Mm-hmm. I just saw a report out of the US camp, like the Olympic camp that they just had or the whatever, and about how Quinn Hughes has to mediate his brother's arguments over everything. And I'm just like, every time I'm like, why would you want to do that? 24/7 babysitting duty just to be as the oldest sibling. I mean, are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest daughter, so yes.
Okay.
Same energy.
Mediation sometimes occurs simply out of necessity being the oldest. Though by your logic, I'm not the oldest.
No. Yeah, I'd be interested to ask your sister about that. Next time I see her at Whitecaps game.
She would tell you straight up how wrong I am about everything. She would straight up tell you that, and she would believe it word for word.
Yeah, but Quinn Hughes is definitely that older brother, for sure.
I feel that the Vancouver Canucks, first and second defensive pairing are pretty much set in stone. It's the composition that I wonder because...
Yeah. Do we go back to Hughes, Hronek?
Yeah, or do you split them up to protect, Well, I feel Marcus Pettersson is capable of... I don't know. I was going to say elevate Tyler Myers' game, but is that the right word? I don't think anything can elevate Tyler until he gets to the fourth line on the wing.
The problem with the problem is with putting him with such a sensible defenseman is that Tyler Myers go crazy.
But then maybe that's what Tyler needs. Maybe Tyler just needs someone to be staying at home while he does the silly.
Maybe. But either way, yes, those are our top four, you would think.
Now, where, you sort of raised the question is sort of that third pairing. You got forward, Pettersson, or DPD, and Pierre Olivier. Now, I feel DPD going into camp, barring surprises, has a spot. I think his play last season and, I'd say in Abbotsford, but that's kind of doing him a disservice because, couldn't paper him down.
Yeah. So you're saying he plays on his offside because, again, we don't have any more right-handed defensemen, apart from Victor Mancini, who has been great, but I think they're going to probably just let him cook in Abbotsford.
Do you think DPD cooks in Abbotsford? You don't think?
No, I'm saying Mancini goes back to Abbotsford.
Mancini. Yeah. Man, I think Mancini is your first defensive call-up. Unless... I thought Forward played well until he got injured. He wasn't.
Yes.
He was as advertised. We didn't have high expectations, but he met the expectations that were sort of set. There were obviously other problems in the blue line. Once injuries went through the blue line,
and he obviously had some other family stuff going on, so but far from the ideal season for him.
I think DP offside, Forbert probably gets it, or one of Forbert or Joseph. I honestly think the blue. True, but I think the blue line is somewhat set, and the only caveat is injury.
Yeah, but once again, how are we having this same conversation that we still don't have right-handed D-man?
They're overrated.
Year of our Lord 2025.
Well, okay. I think we've talked about this on the show before, but part of the problem is likely due to the fact that there are a plethora of left-handed defensemen in Canada, due to the fact that the theory goes Canadian kids learn to play defense first, and the dominant hand is right. So if you're playing defense, you want your dominant hand to often be at the top of the stick to do poke checks, and therefore you start to see more left-handed players. Like me, I'm right-handed, so you put a hockey stick in my hand, and it feels weird to hold it any other way than left.
Maybe I've already said this on the podcast before, but that there's more left-handed golfers on the PGA Tour that, the Canadians are
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of Canadians.
Well, so you say this. I golf right-handed.
Huh.
So the way it works is when I'm holding a bat, a stick, a club, whatever, if my hands are together, it feels weird to hold it left-handed. The moment my hands come apart, it feels weird to hold it right-handed. So hockey and lacrosse, I'm primarily left-handed. Golf and baseball, I'm right-handed. And it's based on the placement of the hands. So if I stick, club, bat, whatever it happens to be, hand placement determines if I'm left or right. Together, right. Apart, left.
Huh. See, I'm right in everything. I'm right in hockey, right in tennis. I think maybe because I played tennis first, and they just teach you to play with your dominant hand.
Well, yeah, so tennis, I'm right. But even when you have two hands on the racket, you're not holding them apart, right? As soon as the hands go together, everything like that is right-handed for me. It just feels so awkward to hold something left-handed when my hands are together. I can't explain it. Now,
that's weird.
Going to the hockey example, that left-handedness in hockey is because I don't know it any other way. It's sort of, I think, what my dad taught me. Now, I didn't play ice hockey like my dad did, and I think that kind of, brought a slight tear to his eye.
Started on field and then went to bull hockey, but
I didn't play. I played street and floor hockey, not field hockey. None of this, elite stuff that you from the old country play.
I guess and in field hockey, maybe this is getting too into the weeds here, but your hands do move a bit more, maybe.
Yeah,
you might bring them together. I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I played field hockey as part of PE in high school when it was a module or whatever. I don't remember how you hold a field hockey stick.
I will say if you start in field hockey, and I played field hockey for like 5 years, and then went to street hockey or like ball hockey, it's so much easier to be able to use both sides of the stick. I love it. I was just like completely freed.
Well, that was the part I do remember in field hockey, is the rounded part of the stick made things so awkward for me.
Because you literally have to flip the entire stick over if you want to like do your deep.
Yeah, and then you're reducing your playable space.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh man, everyone tuned in to C4 to hear our Canucks opinions, and here we're talking about field hockey and whether or not you or I, bat, swing, play from the left or the right. Which probably means we should take a break. You're listening to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Anna and Chris.
Take hitting out of the game. You can't hit anymore, so don't do it.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, I want to get an explanation on that.
No kidding.
Because how do you get suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Plus interference. There's no interference there. He had the puck.
Now, Madison never ever did that before. Now, why did he do it? Because he was mad.
Well, your early favorite for the Calder Trophy, that's for sure. Elias Pettersson, you might even say your early favorite for the Hart Trophy.
Just to get back to your question, Elias is going to play plenty. He's going to get a lot of power play time, and yeah, I'm concerned about our offense. We lost 200-point players, and we've got to find a way to score.
Big contract on the move, Anna. San Jose Sharks have acquired the services of Carey Price. Now, one might wonder, Carey still plays hockey? No, not really, but his contract does.
Yeah, his contract is at least flying west.
Yeah, I honestly, when I saw the news of the trade, was confused.
Me too. I thought Carey Price had retired, and then I was he does have one more year left on his contract. I forgot about that.
And that was what I had, I interpreted this as oh my goodness, is he coming back? And, trying to make another go of it. That was my perception. I was not aware that the contract that he had signed in Montreal, which, how many years was it? 20 years or something like that?
Exactly. These were their old rules. We can't have any more Carey Price contracts under the new rules, which I think is probably a good thing. So we don't have stuff like this happens where it's a retired player still on the move.
But Carey Price, his contract has a $10.5 or $11 million cap hit. It's a significant cap hit, but the payable amount in his last year is something like $2 million. And this again was one of those contracts, and they still get sort of signed from time to time, but where they're front heavy or mid heavy. Essentially, you're managing the actual cash money out of the owner's pocket over a period of time and then amortizing the entire cost over the course of the length of the contract, hence the 10.5. So reasons as to why teams acquire this type of contract near the end has everything to do with cap compliance regarding the floor.
Yeah.
Or the potential of LTIR, which, not that San Jose is expecting to, I think, use it. This was more of a, hey, now we don't have to spend any more money.
It should surprise no one that the floor is at one level and San Jose are below that level.
Yeah. San Jose is, I get that they accept that they're in a rebuild phase. Mm-hmm. The interesting component of what San Jose is doing is they're acquiring some good young players, but potentially putting them into a position where they may decide, I know you're rebuilding, but maybe I don't want to even be a part of this, because by the time I hit my, peak, we're still rebuilding. Future Vancouver Canuck Macklin Celebrini, for instance.
I will say, in terms of making it look fun, it does seem like that having fun, and I don't mean to belittle what they're doing. They're still a professional hockey team, but they're a fun team to watch still, and they have good young players that are doing well and having fun and creating fun content. And they have a player like Tyler Toffoli, who is the best dad to them all. So
I wish Tyler was in Vancouver. Damn you, Jim Benning. Damn you.
It is crazy how he played for us for half a season.
Should have been back. Because he signed in Calgary for less money than we as Canucks fans were willing to pay.
I know, Chris.
Oh, I'm just looking at the cap breakdown for the San Jose Sharks. Their blue line has one NHL contract signed through this season. Dmitry Orlov. Every single other NHL roster defenseman that they currently have signed is a free agent at the end of this upcoming season.
I just say, to me, I'd be much more concerned if you're looking at a team like Chicago, where it seems like no one's having fun.
Well, future Vancouver Canuck Connor Bedard definitely didn't have a whole lot of fun last season. And even in the off season. I mean, if you haven't been paying too close attention to what's going on in the off season, both future Vancouver Canucks Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard have been in Vancouver talking to Canucks and coaches.
Yeah.
No tampering. They just happen to be local kids coming home. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And who knows what's going to happen in the future. I mean, San Jose did just have their AGM resign this morning or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what fire that smoke comes from. But yeah, to me, I'm like, San Jose are a rebuilding team and having fun while doing it. So I wouldn't be as worried about them, but we'll see.
Yeah. The other thing I'd run down here, Connor Zary resigns in Calgary. Let's say a deal was like $4 million or something like that.
Yeah, just under. And it's kind of, I just thought it's interesting, mainly in regards to commentary I've seen about the rise of the cap and who will benefit from it. And it seems like role players, and I don't mean to discredit Zary. He is like middle of the pack in terms of scoring for Calgary. He's not like a bottom dweller, but he gets paid to be like that kind of difference maker, that kind of grit. And like 3.8 to me is quite a lot to get paid for that kind of role. And it does seem to be, it's the middle class that are benefiting.
Yeah, true. I was just, Jack Roslovich still available.
Mm-hmm. Canucks are going to be keep your eye on that until...
At this point, he gets a PTO.
It is funny. It's like, dude, we've talked about this last time, but you got to pick a dance partner at some point.
Yeah, but you're running you pick a dance partner, but if all the dance partners have found someone to dance with, like the Vancouver Canucks always tend to have a few PTOs show up for camp. I haven't heard of any PTOs being brought into Vancouver. Maybe that's what they're I don't know. It's just kind of surreal that he's still available. But the other interesting aspect on the unrestricted side is the restricted side. For instance, Luke Hughes, still a restricted free agent, still not signed to a contract. Mason McTavish, another notable name, still not signed to a deal. Obviously, the complexity of getting a restricted free agent does not. I'm not saying the Vancouver Canucks go and make a splash. Boy, could you imagine if they're like, yeah, let's throw an offer sheet at Luke Hughes? Could you imagine the Devils not matching it, and two, what it would cost the Canucks? But if, let's say, they had the wherewithal to throw a sheet at Hughes, do it for 2 years.
I mean, literally.
I think about this now. If you do it for 2 years, that means if, hypothetically, the Devils were like, we want Quinn, well, wait. If it's to play with family, now we have to deal with the Luke situation. Oh, my goodness. Now I'm thinking this would be... I mean, it could piss... I don't know. It should be whatever Operation Keep Quinn.
See the gong show happening. But it is interesting because of what happened with Edmonton and the Blues. And I think Edmonton got so much criticism for not matching.
Well, they financially weren't in a position to do so. I mean, they obviously could have made it work.
Yeah, and they probably bet on a few wrong horses, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, Edmonton, series of bad decisions. Number one being...
And those, cap non-compliant cheaters.
I know, such cheaters.
Yeah.
Such cheaters.
Oh, my goodness. Because no other team in the NHL has ever thought of being cap non-compliant and cheating.
Yeah.
Ever. Anyhow.
Yeah. Should be interesting. Should be interesting in the Pacific Conference.
It should. But yeah, here we are. End of a regular episode. We're still on our off-season schedule here. I imagine we're going to kick into our regular season schedule near the end of the month into October. That's not to suggest there isn't Vancouver Canucks, stuff happening. Obviously, camp starts pretty darn quick. It's just that, there's only so many times you and I can talk about the blue line, who is going to be the number one center.
Seen
whether or not Thatcher's ready to go.
In anger. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to see at least a few line rushes, I think, before we next talk about lines.
But, if I were to sort of prognosticate, we'll be back to record on the 21st, which means an episode will come out on the 22nd. We'll then record on the 5th, which an episode on the 6th, and likely moving forward, it'll be the 19th onward. And why do I say that? Because Canadian Thanksgiving is a weekend that we would normally take off. And yes, that does mean skipping a little NHL action and having a little bit of elongated break, but Anna and I deserve it. We are the longest running Vancouver Canucks podcast, and I think you and I deserve the occasional break.
Yeah. So, and I think I will be in the UK. So.
Oh, well, then.
Yeah, I might be missing the start of the NHL season, which would be interesting.
Oh, my goodness, Anna.
Well, Anna. I won't be next year because they'll actually start in September, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for a September start.
But what final words of wisdom do you have for our listeners this week, Anna?
What final words of wisdom do I have? Napping is great. If you can nap, you should.
I like naps. I like naps, but because I now wear a CPAP, and then when I sleep, I grind my teeth, so I have to wear a night guard. My body is so accustomed to having both the mouth guard and then the CPAP mask on. The amount of work that it takes to nap defeats the nap.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, but I'm increasingly of the point where if I don't get 8 hours, I need a nap the next day.
Oh, if I get 8 hours, I kind of need a nap the next day.
I know. Oh, being in your 30s.
Wait till you catch up to me. Final words of wisdom from me. Don't wear your sandals out in a torrential downpour while walking through a clay-based parking lot.
Smart.
No, it wasn't. Hence why I'm sharing with our listeners.
But now you know.
To be smarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was just the dog who had dirty paws. No. Do
as Chris says, not as he does.
Yeah, exactly. But if you've reached this part of the show and you're curious as to how to support us, all you need to do is go to buymeacoffee.com/C4podcast. Buy me a coffee, but otherwise known as...
Buy me a pint.
And you can throw a few bucks our way. If you happen to throw us the occasional bucks, those are pints. You buy us a few pints. We will cash them in at some point in time in the future. I have continued to invite Anna out on hot dates, and she is continuing to inform me that she has a hotter date already lined up. So we have yet to cash in those pints together that have been previously acquired. But if you want to support us on a regular basis, you can do so by throwing a recurring $5 payment our way. Alternatively, you can subscribe to the entire year for $50, and that gets you access to C4 Off the Rails. I have not published any of the episodes over the course of the summer. I will publish a match at some point. I just need to find the time. And right now, I'll be honest, the time I had was in the summer, but I was dealing with so many other podcast-related things. They got in the way, but I will figure this out at some point. And I'll get that all up there. The episodes are recorded. I've downloaded the files. I have them on my computer. It's just the production going through and doing all that work. I'm like the head coach for my daughter's soccer team now.
Yeah, the
Work
pink
requiring
puppies.
us to go into the office. Well, it's no, that pink puppies was softball. Soccer, it's the soccer stars. The soccer stars. They had actually the choices of the girls wanted to choose a name, and they had a few of the girls chipped up names. There was the koalas, the goats, like greatest of all times.
Yeah.
The K-pop demon hunters. And
that's a great movie. But yeah,
I actually watched a bit of it today. It was kind of catchy, the music. Soccer Stars won. They had a vote. We had sort of like, drop off the bottom until we had 50% towards one, and Soccer Stars was it. That's who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the Soccer Stars played their first game today.
And how did the Stars get on?
Not too bad. I'll be honest. Don't keep track of the score at this age. Lots of goals were scored by both teams.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's good times. And if you're wanting to find us on social media, Anna's A463 and I'm at Lightforce. The podcast is the C4 Podcast on X, at the Real C4 Podcast on Threads, and C4podcast.com on Blue Sky. So on behalf of Anna, myself, Chris, and everyone else who supports the show, we out.